Go ahead. I'll try to add Micah, like I
Okay.
added Sebastian.
All
right.
All right, we're live.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Apologize in advance for the difficulties this morning. Today, we're here talking about enhancing data protection reporting capabilities with MIP and E-Suite. We are joined here at Microsoft with our trusted partner, Synergy Advisors. Our presenters today, who will also be providing some demonstrations, Sebastian Martinez from Synergy Advisors, Micah Lanasa from Synergy Advisors, and our own Leo Martinez. So before we get started, I just wanted to start off with a
You got your dad joke, Barry?
yeah, it's played. Sorry, can you guys hear me? Apologize. Okay, I'm going to start off with a bad dad joke. So, Leo, here's the joke. What is the best place to hide from ghosts in your house?
I'm thinking a Teams Live event.
No, it's the living room, Leo. The living room.
That is good. Very good.
I will turn it over to you, Leo.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and apologies for the technical difficulties. But I'm sure you're going to get a lot out of today's presentation. Again, my name is Leo Ramirez. I'm a technical specialist for compliance here at Microsoft, and I work with state and local government customers. Now, when we started this webinar series, our primary goal was and still is how we can help our government customers. And what we're really focused on is use cases, what we're learning in the field and sharing that with you, because many times this answers the #1 questions that me and my colleagues get asked from customers. What are other state and local government customers doing? And as you know, SOG often has unique use cases that set them apart. And my colleagues and I, we've been working with Synergy Advisors, and we found that they have solutions for some of the features that you're asking for and needing. Now, today they're going to demonstrate those capabilities that they offer and how you can enhance Microsoft information protection. One of the features that I personally like, and it's really amazing, is the Power BI reporting dashboards. I think you're going to like it too. Now let's go over to the agenda. We're going to start off today. I'm going to show you some typical use cases that my colleagues and I are seeing across SLG. Then Sebastian and Micah, they're going to go over the eVisor Teams app. They're going to do a demo as well. Then we're going to talk about the eVigilant overview. They'll also do a demo. And finally, you're going to want to stick around to do an eVisor for the discussion on eVisor Power BI dashboards and demo. And then finally, we're going to show you how you can get started, and we're going to do some Q&A. All right, so these are some of the use cases that we're seeing across SLG. One of the main things is many of you guys are in a shared tenant. You're an agency that's managed by central IT, and you're looking for ways on how you can get reports for alerts and activities for data loss prevention and information protection. But you only want to see your data, your alerts. Well, you're going to see how the Synergy Advisor has a solution for that. Another use cases that they're being asked about is we want to see and provide additional awareness to our users and how they're using and sharing data. Also, we've heard this ask from customers. It would be great to be able to provide Power BI dashboard reports to executives to show them how our data privacy program is making progress. And finally, how can we help our users make it easier for them to track and revoke the data they're sharing? So these are the use cases. I'm going to jump into a quick demo. before I hand it off to Sebastian and Micah. I'm in the Microsoft Purview Compliance Portal, and I'm over here on the left is the data classification dashboard. Now, what you're going to see here on the data classification dashboard, you're going to get some high-level insights on how sensitive information is being detected across your tenant, SharePoint, OneDrive, Exchange, Teams, and most recently, even your on-premise file shares that are being scanned. So right here, I can see some top trainable classifiers that are being used across my tenant. I can also see sensitive information types that are most used across a tenant. And it looks like that I have a lot of social security numbers. Moving down, if I've already published sensitivity labels to content, I can get a high-level overview of what kind of labels are being used by my users. Same thing, likewise with retention labels, get those same analytics. We can get a little graph of what kind of activity for labeling for users. And we also get this nice circle graph for how sensitivity labels are being used in the different locations, Exchange, OneDrive, and SharePoint. And again, same thing for retention labels. This has given us some good insights on how we can identify where our sensitive information is. So if I move over to the Content Explorer tab, this is where I can drill in and go deeper on those sensitive information types. So for example, I can see that I have over 124,000 social security numbers. And I can even see the locations. And if I drill into any of these folders, I can actually identify where this sensitive information is being discovered in these different SharePoint sites. Now, this is useful when you're building your data classification program. When you want to start building those policies and those labels, you're getting an inventory of where that sensitive information is, right? But this doesn't only apply to sensitive information types. It also applies to sensitivity labels. You can also get insights on where those labels are being applied in those different locations. So for example, here, these are also in SharePoint. We can also get those same analytics for retention labels and trainable classifiers. Now, if I move over to the Activity Explorer, this is going to show me how the alerts I'm getting for data loss prevention policies, as well as the label activities across my environment. Just to give you some insight on activities. If we open that up, these are all the different type of activities that are being reported. I see DLP rules that are being matched, files that are created, labels that have been applied, files that have been discovered, all very useful insights. I can even filter by location, user, and even individual sensitivity labels. Now, one of the key asks we're getting for this dashboard is, how do I see this by department or agency? Now, we do offer, we do allow our customers to utilize the Office 365 Management API so that they can export all alerts and events from Office 365. And then they can gather that data and build reports, including Power BI. Now, how Synergy Advisor makes this easy, they give you the easy button, which they're going to show you in the demo. All right. And with that, after this high-level demo view, I just want to pass it over to Micah and Sebastian so they can show you how their solution works. And I'm going to start presenting the slides again. Over to you, Sebastian.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Leo, for this introduction. So before we start walking through the demos and all the things that are related with the information that we really want to see and to show you, we basically wants to give you a quick introduction of Synergy Advisors. So Synergy is a company that offers technological services over a decade ago. We born in United States and we later extending our coverage to Central America, the Caribbean and Latin America. So in our portfolio, we include consultancy services, our E-Suite solutions, that this is something that we are going to touch in the next couple of slides, that are our own solutions, and we offer managed services. Everything have been created to optimize the usage of the Microsoft platform from every single client in United States and in the rest of America, in terms of compliance and cybersecurity side away. So can you click on the next, please? Next slide. We're seeing right now some animations in terms of our solutions that we are offering at this moment. And if we go to the next slide, we're going to start talking a little bit about information protection and governance. And I'm going to give the word to Michael and Asa.
Thank you, Sebastian. Can you hear me okay?
Hear you okay?
Perfect. Thank you. So Microsoft Purview helps you discover, protect, and govern sensitive data in your organization. And our E-Suite solutions expand the features and scope of Purview to help you tackle advanced use cases in the area of compliance and beyond. We're assuming the audience today is familiar with the capabilities of Purview, but at a high level, Purview includes a number of different ways to discover sensitive data, from the built-in sensitive info types to trainable classifiers to exact data match and more. And of course, once you know your sensitive data, you can protect it using encryption and DLP policies, and data governance helps you to retain and delete files according to your compliance needs. If you want to know more about Microsoft compliance functionality, you can reach out to us and we're happy to talk about your specific use cases and requirements. And go ahead and go to the next slide if you would, Leo, and we'll be able to see how the Purview offerings work together to provide a visualization of sensitive data, lifecycle protection for data, and data loss prevention across an organization. One more, please. And one more beyond, there we go. So our solutions build on top of this functionality, and we can provide advanced reporting. We can empower end users, strengthen your compliance posture across all of the different scopes that you're seeing on the screen. And let's take a look at how that works. If you could go to the next slide, we'll start the conversation with the eVisor Teams app. Now, eVisor Teams app is a native Teams application. It collects information across Microsoft 365 solutions. It presents it back to end users with action and response capabilities. It provides a central location built into Microsoft Teams where users can perform a wide variety of actions across different M365 services, such as updating a password, reviewing compliance state of a device, reviewing login information, scheduling meetings, etc., etc. But we're going to focus in today on the compliance perspective, and from the compliance field, eVisor Teams app collects information about shared and sensitive files and presents it back to authors and to recipients of those files. So starting from the perspective of an author, you can see who's tried to open up your most sensitive files, including when the attempt was made, whether it was successful, and more. And of course, this visibility empowers those end users, those document authors, to better manage the security and productivity of the file. As an author, I can come in and take a look at who has opened up a sensitive document. Maybe I sent something out for review. I can see who has performed that review cycle and who has not tried to open up the document yet. I can also see unsuccessful attempts to open up the file. And this can help me in my productivity. Maybe I didn't understand where this document was going to flow through the organization, and I need to reach out to those users. We can do this directly as a response action within Teams and say, hey, I noticed you tried to open up my file here. What was your need to review this document? And then proactively maybe reprotect it with a different permission policy. Conversely, maybe you see something that looks a little bit more nefarious. Maybe you're seeing a access attempt that's coming in from a different nation state, from a colleague that is just right down the office from you. In that case, maybe there's something going on that requires a little bit more stringent of an action, and we can perform that directly from within the Teams app in the form of revoking access to that sensitive document. On a technical level, the app is pulling information across your Microsoft 365 logs, interpreting that data, filtering it for noise, and then presenting it back to the relevant audience. We can also correlate that data with other data sources. Easiest example is with a geolocation service, so we can correlate the IP address information that's coming out of the M365 logs with where that request is physically coming from across the globe. I've been talking about the perspective of an end user so far, but we can also present different views to different audiences as well. So another easy example to understand is, let's say you have a manager. As a manager, I've got a couple of different direct reports. I can come into the eVisor Teams app and see information around my files, who has tried to open them, whether they're being shared through SharePoint Online or OneDrive for Business, whether that sharing is external, whether it's anonymous, etc. I can also turn on a view that I can see that same information from my direct reports. And with that, I'll hand it back to Sebastian so he can show you what that looks like from a demo perspective.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen really quick, and just to show you how it looks like and to explain everything, how everything works in this kind of a scenario. So as a quick reminder, this is a fully customizable platform for customers, in which, depending on each client and the scenario that we see in compliance and security purposes, we adapt the tabs that our customers want to see. So as summary, we can say that eVisor Teams app present a central location built into Teams. And this is to perform a wide variety of actions across different Microsoft 365 services. So now, here we have Anna's user in eVisor Teams app. So Anna's user will go to the Info Protection tab, that is the one that I'm showing right now. And
really quick, Sebastian.
Yeah.
Can you start sharing, please?
Yeah, you're not watching my screen right now. Let me share this again, very quick, and let me know if you can watch my screen.
Perfect.
Are you watching my screen right now, right?
Yeah. Coming up now. There we go. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. Thank you. So yeah, as I mentioned before, in this scenario, and this is the platform of eVisor Teams app. So Anna will go to this tab of Info Protection, and if she wants to see the users that have tried to access to the document that a member of her team requests to access, she needs to click in this tab and just open this option to see all the information related with the documents that she have shared with a lot of people around the time. So, and over the time. So, and if she will be able to see the users that have tried to access to this document. So in this case, these are the ones that fail in their access attempts. So for example, if we see there is some of the users that try to access to the document, and at the same time I can expand the view and like review all the users that have tried to access to this document and that is labeled by information protection, and at the same time they fail to access to this. So as I mentioned before, this could be an amazing way to see if someone from another department or agency or even external users has tried to access to the information that the organization has. So long story short, and I will have the opportunity or the authorities to see this granularity and also revoke the access to this document immediately without asking an IT admin to do this. So how she can do that? So the only option that she will have in this particular case, she can revoke the access by this option, and she only has to click on here, and then she will revoke the access of the document that she shared in the past. Everything, of course, will be following a security purpose, and like at the same time, she will be able to see a summary of all the documents that she had shared in the past. She can filter this information by the type of files that she shared in the past, and also there's some other summary that will be relevant for this conversation. I'm going to stop here and let us know what question you have in the Q&A button, and we will be able to respond and answer that question. But this is just the simple view of information protection tab. What about, and probably you will have a question, and what happened with the documents that my user doesn't have any label by Microsoft Information Protection? So to give you a quick example over here, there is an opportunity to track this activity as well. So first and foremost, this is an innate view of all the data that the user has. And clearly, the user might not have all the documents classified. And the reason for that is simple. The process of implementing the technology of Microsoft Information Protection will take time for some organizations who are not ready for doing this, and they are doing but like in a slowly manner. And that's totally okay. Everyone is like trying to adapt to the new changes, and this is something that takes time. So this is why we create this tab called Share Files. So if I scroll down after I click on the tab of Share Files, I will see this summary of different documents that can show to anyone not only the information that it's sensitive, but also the activity with those repositories in the different documents that they have. So we're going to take this example with one of the documents that has that Anna shared in the past that has no label in information protection, but she will be, or Anna can view the document that have been shared or not shared with a summary of the activity, the users that have interact in those documents, and we can do basically that with all the files regardless if they have been classified or not. So Anna can track the whole activity, and most important at all is that she will have this tracking in one single place without going to different portals. And the beauty of this is that this work is across the protect and unprotect documents. So I'm going to stop here, like showing this perfect example of a different activity that Anna is tracking, for example, in a document that she shared by Teams. So there is an history between the activity and all the users that may be internal users, or it could be like external users as well. And at the same time, she will be able to take actions from this bottom. If she wants to, if this document is already classified, we will be able to see this information if it is classified or not. Or more important at all, this will be like they will be take action to deny the access and to restore the access to the document to different people. So I'm going to stop here again, and if you have any questions, please let us know in the Q&A tab. And if you want, Leo, if you want to go to the PowerPoint presentation again, and we can like start like solving some questions regarding this.
All right, thank you, Sebastian. So now I'll talk about our eVisor Power BI solution, which extends the views that we've been talking about so far on up to a more administrative level. So our eVisor solution can come through and collect logs across M365, over 160 different log sources, especially in the areas of compliance, different log sources within different technologies, such as the sensitivity label, such as DLP. It can automatically collect all of that information and first of all, store it for long-term usage. Some of the data that Leo was presenting in the first demo is only available for up to 30 days. I'm thinking about the DLP alerts, for example. So if you're looking for information to go back for forensic purposes or to see a trend line, you need to have some sort of storage for that data on a long-term basis. First thing that eVisor does is automatically collects that data and then stores it within your tenant. So the data does not leave your organization. It's stored within your tenant for ongoing usage. We're correlating those different log sources together and then presenting that information back to business and technical audiences. This is more focused on IT administrators, business decision makers who want to look at the platform holistically. And we can do a lot of things with that data after we've collected it. For one thing, we can parse it, we can, I mentioned, correlate it, we can interpret that data, and we can present it back to different audiences. We can, for example, use the data coming out from M365 alongside of information coming from Active Directory so that we can show department-specific reports to somebody that might be in charge of that particular department or region or office. We can present only the data that's relevant to that officer to that person. And in that series of Power BI reports, we provide analytics to show overall platform usage, adoption, issues, rule hits, etc., as well as the ability to drill down at a granular level and perform some investigation. And Leo, if you could go to the next slide, you can take a look at some of the architecture behind the eVisor solution. You can see that we're collecting all of that data through M365, extracting it in a number of different ways depending on how the log sources are being made available through Microsoft, so via Graph API, etc. Centralizing that, optimizing it, and then presenting it back to the end users. So I can see, for example, a DLP alert, a DLP rule that was triggered by an individual user. And I can also correlate that information with sign-in information and device information if I need to present a holistic view of that single incident across the different M365 services. So I'll send it back to Sebastian so we can take a look at what some of those reports actually look like.
Thank you so much, Micah. Leo, can you go to the next slide, please, very quick? Okay, thank you so much. Here we go. So the question that we should ask to ourselves and to yourself is, what is the area that you would like to protect at first? What is the specific area that you really want to protect? In this solution, you can see through analytics the information on how the DLP service is configured, and you can also see the activity that is happening in the service with native Power BI capabilities. The policies that have been created appear there, and I can export the data and have a summary of the rules that are active on the platform, and this is used to present in audits, for example. So in this example, as you can see in the screen, a manager or a CTO or someone for the compliance department want to see the number of DLP incidents that have been created by a specific department or any other domain. Taking into account, for example, for the SLG sector, there is shared domains, for example, and this is going to be a simple way to see this information. So now I'm going to go and share my screen. Please, guys, let me know if you are watching my screen right now. You're watching it? The Power BI?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. So before to pass to our demo, and before to start like this whole explanation, because of time, we didn't show you the information protection and a scenario that we discussed earlier, because we have a Power BI dashboard like this, but in this case, we're going to talk about more in terms of DLP. So the Power BI allow us to have an analytics, and I can make filters with control, and this allow us to understand that we have a solution that tell us how the service is configured. And you can define from within your organization who will be able to see what scenario and limit that view as well. So if I scroll down, you will see a lot of graphics here, and you will have the ability to see through these analytics the information on how the DLP, of course, is configured, as I mentioned before. And some organization would like to have different areas based on the regions, departments, location, or in this case, could be a business unit or agencies, for example. So here we have some filters in the information that I can do. So for example, if I filter by domain, that is already filtered by this, I can see the amount of DLP incidents that in this case, in this demo, this company received from different domains. So that works for example, in the case that an organization from an SLG industry wants to see, for example, the amount of agencies who are like trying or making different incidents in DLP. Also, I can filter this by department. So this is another option that different people from like a department, a compliance department or an IT manager can do. And in this case, Power BI helped me to correlate the data in which an IT manager can detect a department, for example, in which is the one that is committing like the most of DLP incidents. This analytics showed, for example, who is making these DLP errors and to which department it belongs, or to which person belongs to which department. And at the same time, if we see over here, we are very granular in the information that we gather from DLP or any other Microsoft source. So here we are seeing, for example, this information that is related with the sensitive info types. So in the sensitive info types, if I want to see more in detail and I want to drill through information in terms of the sensitive info type of IP addresses, for example, I just need to select this. Of course, the information is going to be filtered and I can drill through the information. Why I can deal through this information? Because in Synergy, we go above and beyond just with the information of DLP, adding some capacity to correlate this data to the specific user information with the corresponding information, with the corresponding data. So you can have a comprehensive way to identify potential business areas or require training, for example, or require any specific actions. So in this case, and in this example that I'm doing right now in the Power BI, after I drill through in the information, in this information, this is going to give us more detail on, for example, where is located some documents that are labeled and has that sensitive info type. Which, for example, we can track some of the emails that most of the users has shared or has sent with this information, with this sensitive information. We can see as well who is the person who is receiving this email. So at some point, we are given a 360 degrees view of all the information that is happening in my organization. So this is something that is, of course, is customizable as well. And if you have any questions regarding this, let us know in the Q&A tab. So Leo,
Yeah.
if you want to present again.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight something real quick.
Oh yeah.
What you showed earlier was amazing, and that's the exact use case that some of our government customers are looking for. Being able to filter by agency, by department, by group. I mean, the power in that report is exactly what they're looking for. So thank you for showing that feature.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Are you ready?
of course. That's it. Yeah.
You ready for the next slide?
Yeah, of course. Could you go to the next slide and share the presentation? Good. Let me stop sharing here. Okay. Thank you. All yours, Micah.
Thank you, Sebastian. So the last solution that we're going to demonstrate today is eVigilant. We've talked about reporting, both in terms of the end user and in terms of administrators. Now we're moving into the sphere of action in terms of alerts, notifications, and response. And for that, we've developed our solution known as the eVigilant, which is keying off of different events across the M365 stack. And you can see a couple of the examples of the types of alerts that we can do within the eVigilant. Of course, we're going to focus in on the compliance portion today. Leo, if you could go to the next slide, and then actually we'll go straight to the next slide after that, if you would. So you can see all of the different Microsoft applications that we can key off of, but actually the original scenario for us to build the eVigilant was for DLP, was responses to DLP notifications. Working with our customers, we started as a consulting organization. We found that a lot of customers were struggling to deploy DLP, and I'll tell you why that is. They would set up their DLP policies to discover the sensitive information, and of course, the Microsoft solutions that help to discover that sensitive information worked very well. But then once they were turned on, the IT administrators were getting a deluge of notifications that a DLP policy was being violated. And at that IT admin level, the folks that were reviewing those alerts did not necessarily have the context to understand which of those alerts were important that they needed to surface, which of them were false positives, which of them were in the course of a user's daily process. And as a result, it led to either throwing a whole lot of resources to review those alerts or ignoring them altogether, neither one of them being an optimal response. So in this case, we developed the eVigilant for this specific solution and then branched out from there, where we can, upon receipt of a DLP alert, that's performed by Microsoft 365, they find the DLP violation and perform the associated action, whether that's to audit or whether that's to block. eVigilant finds that information, keys off of that information, and starts a workflow. And now the workflow that we're going to show in our demo is just one example of what we can do. But to highlight that example, we start with sending a notification to the document author, the one who initiated the alert, the one who was trying to send the sensitive information outside the organization or somewhere else where it should not belong. And in that case, we ask that user to provide a justification for that action. Then we can route that justification to someone else to review. In our case, we can route it to the manager. That could just as easily be a compliance officer or someone else who has the requisite context to understand why that user was trying to send that sensitive information where it shouldn't go, according to my DLP policy. Now, in our demonstration, we're routing it to the manager. The manager can take a look and say, oh, my direct report was trying to send this information outside. That's part of my user's new project. This is within the business processes, the expected business processes for this user. Or the direct manager can say, I know that the user has been interviewing around, itching to leave. This is something that might be a little bit more nefarious, and we want to escalate this on up to a compliance officer, to an IT admin, to somebody who can investigate further. Again, we have the author and the manager, two people in this role with a context to understand if this is something that we need to surface, that we need to highlight, that we really need to investigate, or if this is a false positive, if this is something that is part of the user's day-to-day operations or even exception operations that is valid. So in that case, the manager can approve or reject, escalate, perform some action over that alert to either continue the workflow or to stop it there and say, this is acceptable for the organization. And all of that information is logged in one of our eVisor reports through eVisor Power BI, which Sebastian was showing you earlier. So I'll send it over to Sebastian to show you what that looks like from the perspective of the end user.
Thank you, Micah. Okay, so Leo, can you go to the next slide very quick to explain the use case that we will show in this last demo? So in this case, the user Laura, we will call Laura, so was trying to send an email with a document that contains or contained PII as sensitive data. So the Microsoft DLP blocks the mail and notifies about the cause of the blocking from our solution, enable the result and improve the experience. This can be recurrent behavior within the organization for many users, but eVigilant improves the experience by capturing the data and having greater traceability of sensitive information shared, offering a series of notifications and customizable actionables, allowing to arrange the information on various business areas in the organization. So we are seeing here just an example, but let me just start like presenting my screen again, and we will see this in live. So please, guys, let me know if you are watching my screen again.
Not yet.
All right, I think it's loading.
Yeah, we can see now.
You can see it now. All right.
Pulling up.
So-
There we go.
But you're watching right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So in this scenario, as I mentioned before, the user Laura was trying to send a document that contained PII as sensitive data by email. So this is the email that she received from Microsoft DLP with a summary of the incident. So normally, like the people, when they have this kind of incidents, they will receive this message or this email from Microsoft that is going to have a summary of every single thing that happened and when that happened. So this email is going to go directly to an IT manager, to Laura, and to Anna, because in this case, we're going to pretend that Anna is the manager of Laura. So this is like a very quick overview of this message that most of you already know. But I invite you to don't forget that there are two ways that eVigilance send this notification to Laura, to her manager, to Anna, and also to the IT administrator. It depends on how the service will be configured. So if we want to see the same information in an email, it will be very quick as this. So this is a case ID of this scenario. So this is the mail that eVigilant with the same information in terms of all the things related with the incident that happened, with the date, with a case ID that is created by eVigilant, and with an action of justified this action. Basically, this is gonna be like an option to for Anna or for Laura, the person who is making this example. But Anna as a manager and Laura receive a notification as well from our chatbot of eVigilant, indicating that Laura tried to send the document, the same information that we just saw in the email, and with sensitive information with the option of justify this action again. So you will see this information in the chatbot who runs in Teams, of course. So this is the summary of the information. And then if Anna or Laura wants to justify this, they just has to click in justify. And most of you will say, but Sebastian, like why it's important to justify this kind of actions. So let me explain something. Our solution allowed to the end user to justify all the scenarios, to have a traceability on what is happening with each of the cases with all the end users. So questions like why did you send that, or what is the reason behind that, will be solved in the right minute. So in this case, Laura or Anna will have the opportunity to explain if this action was required to work with another agency, or probably they had to justify this because it was a false positive, or this is more related with a lack of knowledge of Laura performing actions for not being aware of the risk. So here I just don't want that everyone try to see eVigilant that at a solution that only send notification, because let me tell you something. We are helping to identify potential risk. Second, we are going beyond the IT and we are getting involved with the data owners. And third, we are educating the end user with best practices. And this is the real value that we really want to show you guys in this demo. So this potentially can get integrated with your ticketing systems like ServiceNow or Dynamics customer service. We can do that, and we can just explain how that works in another session, because from the interest of the time, I really want to present basically this part. And if you have any questions, please let us know again in the Q&A tab. So we will be more than happy to resolve and to respond any of the questions if you have anything. So Leo, if you want to go back to the presentation just to finish. Can you hear me, Leo?
Yes, are you able to see my slide?
It's loading.
We don't see it yet, Leo. Right.
Okay, let me try sharing again.
All right. That's better. So yeah, that's this is basically how you can contact to us in the case that you need it. We are in every single zone in the United States. So these are the contacts of every single part of the United States that you want to contact to us and schedule a meeting to discover how we can help you guys. If you want, at the same time, we can do a demo of the solution that we would recommend in terms of the necessities that we see and all the things related with that. So Leo, in the last slide, these are the questions and answers that we are ready to solve. So thank you so much, and let's go to the questions and answers.
Yeah, feel free to put questions and answers and questions in the chat. Barry, on you.
Hey, Leo, I'm sorry. Can you share the resource slide, or no? Do you want me to?
Yeah. Are you able to see how to
No.
get started?
No, I don't see it. Is it just me?
Yeah, it's been pushed live.
Okay. Let me try this. Apologize. Okay, so I apologize, folks. All right, so how to get started. Microsoft has a number of resources for you on how to get started. If we have funded partners that can help you do workshops around our solutions. If you're a unified support customer, we have a number of unified support resources, both in people as well as workshops, etc. And then also, if we do have Fast Track, and if as a Microsoft customer, we have a whole team of Fast Track organizations that can help you deploy your solutions. And most importantly, if you have questions about our workshops or workshops, for example, from Synergy Advisors, you can reach us at MSSSLG, compliance@microsoft.com alias, and regardless of where you are in the country, we'll field your request and direct you appropriately. So, Leo, that's what I've got. I think I'm going to turn this back over to you.
All right, thank you, Barry. And we do have an upcoming webinar next week on February 16th, same time. We're dropping the link to that next webinar. The topic is going to be the top 5 things state and local governments should do to manage records. So go ahead and register, and we look forward to seeing you then. Do we have any other questions in the chat? See? Don't see anything.
I think we're good.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for joining us. And thank you, Synergy Advisors, for co-presenting with us today. Looking forward to hearing from you guys, and customers, I'm sure, will be contacting you. Everybody, have a good day.
Of course, thank you so much, Leo. Thank you so much, team. If you have any
Thank you.
questions, you know how to find us. Thank you.